Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha Television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Post-demonetisation relief for farmers. Union Cabinet decides to waive 660 crore rupees in interest payments on short-term crop loans for November-December 2016. Day after the Tamil Nadu Assembly passes a law on Jallikattu, Centre tells Supreme Court that it will withdraw 2016 notification to allow bull taming sport in the state. Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Mohammad bin Zayed Al Nahyan, arrives in New Delhi, will attend the Republic Day celebrations as the chief guest during his 3-day visit. And Chief Minister's panel on promoting digital payments submits its interim report, suggests bringing down transactions cost as the key to encouraging cashless transactions. Well, the Union Cabinet on Tuesday decided to waive the 660 crore rupees interest payment on short-term crop loan for November-December 2016. The decision is expected to come as a huge relief to farmers who are affected by cash crunch on account of demonetisation. The Cabinet also gave 400 crore rupees to NABARD to bear the refinancing cost of cooperative banks. The move entitles farmers to a refund of interest on short-term loans in the demonetisation period. The amount will be credited in their bank accounts through a direct benefit transfer. Data for 2016-17 shows the government has set a target to disburse agri credit of 9 lakh crore rupees, of which 7.56 lakh crore rupees was disbursed to farmers till September last year. The Cabinet also cleared land swap between the Bihar government and the Airports Authority of India for expansion and development of the Patna airport. It also approved transfer of 11.35 acres owned by the Bihar government to AAI by exchanging equivalent land. Also approved was the Indian Institute of Management Bill of 2017 that declares IIMs as institutions of national importance with statutory powers. IT will allow IIMs to award degrees instead of diplomas. The demonetisation drive has impacted the farming community by draining away liquidity. The measure adversely impacted a sector that is heavily dependent on cash. The agriculture sector is now looking for a firm policy direction in the upcoming budget. Mishras Report explains what are the expectations of the community.
The agriculture sector has borne the brunt of demonetisation. Most of the transactions for seeds, fertilizers, tools or salary payments are all carried out in cash. Sale, transport and distribution of products at mandis are also heavily dependent on cash. Moreover, with the RBI banning the exchange of old notes at all cooperative banks, farmers want the government to waive off their loans in order to tide over their losses.
नोटबंदी से हमें किसानों को बहुत ही ज्यादा परेशानियां आई। हमारे खेत बीज और खाद वगैरह नहीं बोए हैं। सरकार से हम बजट से ये चाहते हैं कि हमारा कर्जा माफ हो और हमारे जो फसल की कीमत बढ़नी चाहिए।
Experts expect greater allocation for the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana that will bring in more land under irrigation. The target was 28 lakh hectares for financial year 2017. Funds allocated for Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana may also increase from 5,500 crore rupees. An interest rate cut for agriculture credit under different schemes is also expected.
50% houses will not have anything to do. Their kitchens will close down. The children's marriages, everything is on Kisan Credit Card today. So therefore we need a policy today. The government in the budget must bring out a policy where the Kisan can sustain agriculture.
The Niti Ayog's task force on agriculture development has also offered its suggestions. This was after the Finance Ministry for the first time invited suggestions on Twitter on budget 2017-18. According to initial reports, India wants the finance minister to focus more on agriculture in his union budget. Kriti Mishras Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, a high-level committee of chief ministers on promoting digital payments submitted its interim report to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday. The team led by Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu says that the key to the success of digital payments in the country was to bring down the cost of digital transactions. The report has also advised that merchants doing digital transactions should not be subjected to retrospective taxation. Further, it has recommended levy of transaction tax for cash transactions of 50,000 rupees and above. The panel has also suggested that merchant discount rate or MDR be abolished to make digital payments cheaper than cash.
Tax incentives to be extended to micro ATMs, biometric sensors, domestic production has to be increased. Third one, tax refund for consumers using digital payment up to a certain proportion of annual income. Small players, we have to help them, we have to give incentives for them. For Aadhaar Pay, biometric, fingerprint, iris sensors to be provided, 50% subsidy to all merchant points. Fifth one, APES to be promoted by incentivizing and not charging MDR. This is very crucial recommendation, no MDR at all. And also cost of communication should be zero.
Moving on, now in view of the law passed by the Tamil Nadu Assembly, the centre on Tuesday informed the Supreme Court that it will withdraw its 2016 notification to allow bull taming sport Jallikattu in the state. Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi told a bench that the centre has decided to withdraw the January 6 notification issued by the Ministry of Environment and Forest allowing the sport. The court had reserved its verdict on a batch of petitions challenging the notification. The Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 2017, piloted by Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam, was adopted unanimously on Monday by a voice vote in the Assembly after a brief debate. The bill now awaits President's approval. Meanwhile, turned in Chennai after nearly a week of protests in support of Jallikattu, Marina Beach wore a deserted look on Tuesday amid a noticeable police presence. Several protesters were injured in clashes when a policeman and they attempted to evict them on Monday. All routes leading to the beach continued to be blocked by police, causing inconvenience to daily commuters on Tuesday. The Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Mohammad bin Zayed Al Nahyan, arrived in New Delhi today. He was received at the airport by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Crown Prince will be the chief guest at the Republic Day parade on Thursday. Both countries are slated to sign agreements on maritime affairs, agriculture and small and medium industries when he meets the Prime Minister on Wednesday. With trade ties as a key component of the bilateral strategic relationship, India is making efforts to address UAE's concerns. The UAE reportedly wants to see legacy issues of some big investments of UAE companies sorted. The neighbouring country also seeks relaxation in FDI in sectors like ports and real estate. Both sides are also expected to sign a pact between the UAE's Sovereign Wealth Fund and India's National Investment and Infrastructure Fund.
Our strategic partner in the energy sector and will be both investing and filling up one of our key strategic petroleum reserves. We hope that the negotiations would conclude today.
Many parts of northern India battled icy winds and fog on Tuesday as cold wave conditions continued to disrupt normal life. Dense fog took over the national capital on Tuesday morning, affecting traffic movement. Operations at airports and railway stations were also disrupted, with as many as 25 trains running late. 9 trains were rescheduled and 1 was cancelled. 11 international and 9 domestic flights were also delayed and 1 was cancelled. People in Shimla struggled to carry on with their morning routines with temperatures hovering around 0 degrees Celsius. The Met Department has predicted heavy snowfall in isolated places of Himachal Pradesh and intense cold wave conditions over the next 48 hours. Rains and thunder showers are also expected in the lower hills. Meanwhile, in Kashmir, most areas received fresh snowfall affecting flight operations. More snowfall and rains have been forecast in the valley over the next 2 days. Well, here's a roundup of the other national news and nationwide. 2 militants were killed in an encounter with security forces in central Kashmir's Gandarbal district. Paramilitary forces along with the local police cordoned off the area to carry out a search when the militants opened fire. According to reports, both militants belong to Lashkar-e-Taiba. 2 AK-47 rifles were recovered from them. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday stressed the need to reject gender discrimination and ensure equal opportunities. Extending greetings on the occasion of Girl Child Day, Modi called on people to reaffirm the commitment to challenging stereotypes based on gender and promote gender sensitization as well as gender equality. The Delhi police are probing corruption charges levelled against Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, his brother-in-law and a public servant who are alleged irregularities in the granting of contracts for building roads and laying of sewer lines in Delhi. Kejriwal's brother-in-law has been accused of submitting fake bills and invoices to the Public Works Department for a huge profit. Let's now get you the latest from the poll-bound states. Well, the Election Commission has given its nod to the centre to present the Union Budget on February 1st ahead of the Assembly polls. But the poll body said no schemes related to these poll-bound states can be announced, and the Finance Minister's speech should not refer to the government's achievements in these states. It also reminded the government of a 2009 advisory which said vote on account instead of a full-fledged budget is presented ahead of elections as per convention. It also said in the Finance Minister's speech the government's achievements in respect of the 5 states will not be highlighted in any manner. Polls in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Manipur, Punjab and Goa will be held between February 4th and March 8th.
It is also well known that Prime Minister and his government are infamous for misutilizing government resources for propagating the political prospects of Bharatiya Janata Party. So rightfully, in order to ensure level playing field, which is essential to democracy, Election Commission has directed that no specific announcements can be made for these states which are going to polls so as to influence the voters.
After all, with regard to the budget on the 1st of February, the Honorable Supreme Court has not entertained a plea to stop it. As far as the Election Commission is concerned, they have made a comment that it shouldn't be with regard to anything specific to these poll-bound states. In any case, the budget is not specific to these states. The budget is for the whole of India. Whatever is there, it will be about the activities of the government in terms of the whole year for the country.
The filing of nominations for the third phase of elections in Uttar Pradesh started today with a notification for the February 19th election. The process of filing papers will continue till January 31st and the last date of withdrawal is February 4th. 69 assembly seats spread over 12 districts will go to polls on February 19th in the third phase. Polling in the state will be done in 7 phases between February 11th and March 8th, while ballots will be counted on March 11th. Today is also the last date of filing nominations for the first phase polling, for which voting will take place on February 11th. 73 constituencies spread over 15 districts will vote in the first phase. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav kicked off the Samajwadi Party's election campaign from Sultanpur on Tuesday. Targeting the BJP-led government at the centre, Akhilesh alleged that it could incorporate in the union budget some of the ambitious schemes announced in the Samajwadi Party manifesto to take credit for them. The Samajwadi Party national president also ridiculed the Achhe Din promise of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, promising to make the metro in Uttar Pradesh a reality. Akhilesh also highlighted the achievements of his government in the past 5 years.
एक ऐसी पार्टी को जिता दिया जिसने कहा कि अच्छे दिन आ जाएंगे। हम सुल्तानपुर के लोगों से पूछना चाहते हैं, बताओ अच्छे दिन कहां हैं? मैं ये बात कह के जा रहा हूं बड़ी जिम्मेदारी के साथ, पत्रकार साथियों के साथ। आप देख लेना, जब बजट उनका आएगा तो कहीं न कहीं हमारे समाजवादियों ने जो काम किए उनकी नकल करने का काम उनका बजट करेगा, क्योंकि इतने अच्छे काम किसी सरकार ने नहीं किए।
Home Minister Rajnath Singh on Tuesday accused Pakistan of supplying drugs in Punjab. He warned the neighbouring country of dire consequences if it does not mend its ways. Addressing an election rally in poll-bound Punjab, Singh assured that whosoever promotes such activity will have to face severe circumstances. The Home Minister also urged voters to elect the SAD-BJP alliance once again, as they would provide corruption-free government in Punjab. The state will vote in the assembly elections on the February 4th.
हाँ, मैं यह मानता हूं कि हमारा पड़ोसी देश पाकिस्तान बराबर कोशिश करता है ड्रग्स को कि भारत के अंदर कैसे अधिक से अधिक ड्रग्स भेजी जाए, वहां के नौजवानों को बर्बाद करने की कोशिश की है। लेकिन मैं आपको यकीन दिलाना चाहता हूं, आप मित्रों में सरकार बनाइए, शिरोमणि अकाली दल भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनाइए। यदि कोई नहीं रोकेगा इस हरकत को, तो मैं गृह मंत्री के रूप में यकीन दिलाकर जाना चाहता हूं, जो इन चीजों को बढ़ावा देने की कोशिश करेगा उसकी मैं खाट खड़ी कर दूंगा। मैं आपको विश्वास दिलाकर जाता हूं।
Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In the Lutyens bungalow zone of Delhi, there is a perception that you are not a favorite of the central leadership. Why?
I was a disciplined soldier. I am a disciplined soldier. The people of the state will be giving the mandate.
Because Aam Aadmi Party is very clear that they are an anti-casino culture party, but BJP's stand has been that of a flip-flop.
We are unnecessarily being tarnished. All the 6 casinos which are floating in Mandavis is the gift of Congress government.
Watch To The Point with Goa Chief Minister Lakshmikant Parsekar only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Australia and New Zealand say they are hopeful of pressing ahead with the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal despite America's formal withdrawal. The US-led 12-nation agreement was set to cover 40% of the world's economic output. Pulling out of the TPP was one of Trump's first executive orders and fulfills a long-held campaign promise. Australia has already devised a name for a possible new agreement, TPP 12-1. Asian Trans-Pacific Partnership nations announced on Tuesday they were looking for ways to save the multi-country trade pact in the wake of US President Donald Trump's decision to pull his country out of it. Fulfilling a campaign pledge, Trump signed an executive order in the Oval Office on Monday, pulling the United States out of the 2015 TPP agreement and distancing the United States from its Asian allies.
All right, we're going to sign 3 memorandums right now. The first one is withdrawal from the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Everyone knows what that means, right? We've been talking about this for a long time. Thank you. Okay. Great thing for the American worker, what we just did.
Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull said he is looking to salvage the Trans-Pacific Partnership by encouraging other nations into the agreement. Trump's decision opens the door for the remaining members of the pact who are more reliant on trade to bring other nations, in particular China, into the negotiations.
We want to have more opportunities with more markets. We already have a China-Australia Free Trade Agreement. Certainly there is the potential for China to join the TPP.
Turnbull said he had discussions with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, New Zealand Prime Minister Bill English and Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong about the possibility of proceeding with the TPP without the United States.
It is possible that US policy could change over time on this, as it has done on other trade deals. There is also the opportunity for the TPP to proceed without the United States, and I've had active discussions with other leaders as recently as last night with Prime Minister Abe about that.
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, on the other hand, said Japan would continue to seek the United States' understanding of the strategic benefits of joining the TPP.
トランプ大統領は自由で公正な貿易の重要性については認識していると考えており、TPP 協定が持つ戦略的 経済的意義についても腰を据えて理解を求めていきたいと考えています。
Obama framed TPP without China in an effort to right Asia's trade rules before Beijing could, establishing US economic leadership in the region as part of his pivot to Asia. China has proposed a counterpact, the free trade area of the Asia-Pacific, and has championed the Southeast Asian-backed regional comprehensive economic partnership. The remaining 11 TPP nations are Brunei, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, Peru, Singapore, Vietnam, Australia and New Zealand. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Well, let's now get you a roundup of the other international news and global buzz. Russia, Turkey and Iran are working on a statement to reaffirm a fragile ceasefire between Syrian warring parties to pave way for a UN-led peace settlement. Delegations from the Syrian government and opposition are holding indirect talks for a second day in the Kazakh capital at a time when Turkey and Russia want to disentangle themselves from the fighting. In a huge setback for British Prime Minister Theresa May that could delay her Brexit plans, the Supreme Court today ruled that she can't trigger the process of taking Britain out of the European Union unilaterally and must seek Parliament's consent over it. The government had argued that it already had the executive powers to trigger Article 50, but Supreme Court judges rejected the case by a majority of 8-3. The death toll in Italy's avalanche disaster rose to 14 as rescuers today found more bodies. 11 people so far have been rescued from in and around the hotel in the Gran Sasso National Park, but 15 people are still missing after a wall of snow crashed into the 4-story building last Wednesday, hours after earthquake shook the region. Many areas along the shorelines in New York and New Jersey were left partially underwater on Monday as a powerful storm system hit the area. At least 21 people are reportedly dead. The storm also hit Mississippi and Georgia over the weekend but turned cooler as it advanced on the northeast. However, 14 people died in Georgia where an emergency has been declared for 7 counties. Mississippi reported 4 deaths from a tornado on Saturday, where severe weather also injured more than 50 people and damaged about 480 homes. Some sports-related news now. The Supreme Court today asked the Centre and the BCCI to suggest names for appointment of administrators to run the country's cricket governing body. The Apex Court rejected all 9 names submitted by the BCCI Council, asserting that any individual over the age of 70 will not qualify for the post. The court, however, allowed the BCCI to suggest 3 names after following due process to represent it at the ICC meeting in the first week of February. The 3-judge bench has given January 27th the deadline to suggest names and posted the matter for hearing on the 30th of January. In its January 2nd order, the Supreme Court removed Anurag Thakur as BCCI president and disqualified all the board and its state association office bearers who failed to meet the new norms set by the Justice Lodha Committee. Meanwhile, in the Australian Open, Roger Federer set up a semi-final clash with compatriot Stan Wawrinka in the men's singles, while Venus Williams advanced to a Grand Slam semi-final after 14 years. For India, Sania Mirza and Rohan Bopanna progressed to the quarterfinals of the mixed doubles with their respective partners. Here's more from Day 9. 2 more Indians advanced to the quarterfinals of the mixed doubles at the Australian Open on Tuesday. Indo-Croatian pair of Sania Mirza and Ivan Dodig defeated Aussie-Chinese pair of Alexander Peya and Sai Yeng 2-6, 6-3, 10-6. The second-seeded team will next face the Indo-Canadian pair of Rohan Bopanna and Gabriela Dabrowski in the last 8. Bopanna and Dabrowski defeated the Polish-Taiwanese players El Kubot and Wai Chan 6-4, 5-7, 10-3. Leander Paes is the other Indian who entered the quarterfinal with his Swiss partner Martina Hingis. In the men's singles, 17 times Grand Slam champion Roger Federer reached the semi-finals with a straight sets victory over unseeded German Mishras Report, who had upset world number 1 Andy Murray on Sunday. The 4 times champion Federer looked in sublime form, and despite being broken once in the second set, the Swiss won 6-1, 7-5, 6-2. Federer will next face compatriot Stan Wawrinka in the last 4. The 4th seed and the 2014 champion Wawrinka beat Frenchman Jo-Wilfried Tsonga in straight sets 7-6, 6-4, 6-2 to reach an 8th Grand Slam semi-final. In the women's singles, Venus Williams reached the Australian Open semi-finals for the first time in 14 years with a straight sets win over Russia's Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. The 13th-seeded American saw off the 24th seed 6-4, 7-6 in the first quarter-final. Venus will next meet unseeded compatriot Coco Vandeweghe, who thrashed Spain's 7th seed Garbine Muguruza 6-4, 6-0 to reach her first Grand Slam semi-final. The 25-year-old's crushing win comes on the heels of her win against world number 1 and defending champion Angelique Kerber in the previous round. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, that's it on this edition of the newscast. Good night.